going.
Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Farmer George, and today we are going to do a box opening. Yay! And what I'd like to do first is give you a little bit of background. This is an electric chainsaw. It's a battery operated chainsaw by Ego. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with chainsaws and a little bit about me. I started trimming trees and cutting trees down when I was about 11 years old. Back in 1979, I removed a bunch of trees with my father from our property. And that was the beginning of it. In 2013, I went ahead and sat and took the test and became a certified arborist. And I had a business, landscape maintenance business, and we did tree trimming for about 20 years consistently. And I used to have, when I was in the business, I had steel chainsaws. We had a variety of them for a variety of jobs that we did. Now, in 2014, I had a stroke, and that stopped me from being able to run my business and being a certified arborist. I have one of the symptoms that I've been left with after my stroke is fatigue. I can only work a couple hours throughout the day, not at one time, but throughout the day. So I can only do a little bit at a time, plus I have a bad back. Now, I do like steels, and if you're interested in real chainsaw videos, I'd recommend going to Outdoor with the Morgans. Mike Morgan, he has a lot of steel chainsaws. He's always cutting firewood. He's got a lumber, a sawmill, and so he cuts lumber, and he also does a lot of firewood, and he's got a lot of different types of steel. So he's on YouTube, Outdoor with the Morgans, if you want to go check him out. But that brings us to today. We have bought 5 acres. We're going to start a new farm. We don't plan on being here full time for another 2 years, so we're going to be prepping and getting ready for the animals and everything over the next couple of years. And one of the problems that I have is starting the chainsaws with my back. Somebody who has any experience knows that. The chainsaws will sit around for a while not being used, and then when you go to try to start them, you have problems starting them. Well, that's why I went with the battery Ego chainsaw. Now, the reason why I went with the Ego is because they have a lot of different pieces of equipment. Earlier, I tried it out and I bought an edger, and the edger did really well. I only edge my property, and it's really just the driveway and the sidewalks. And it does great. It's really a quality machine. And so I went ahead and I bought a set of hedge clippers, which uses the same battery. And then I went and bought a blower, a hand blower. And I was impressed with all of them. And so when it came to getting a chainsaw, I was like, well, I'm going to try the Ego. And so here's the box, the Ego box. I'm going to go ahead and open this up if I can. Maybe not rip the box apart.
Yeah. The tabs. Yep.
Tabs come out.
Right there. Yep.
My wife was videoing this, so you'll hear her voice in the background. We don't have a tripod yet, so she can't join it with us. So here we got a big, pretty thick manual. It's probably got 6 different languages. That's why it's so thick. And then we have cardboard. Keep it all together. Nothing in there. And then over here we have a charger, and what comes with this is a 56 volt 2-hour amp battery. But this is the charger, battery charger. And then here's the battery. Now, one of the things to remember is, or something that I've learned is, where does it say 2 on this one? Well, trust me, it's a 2. Anyways, the 2-hour amp hour battery weighs 2 pounds. Supposed to weigh 2 pounds. This feels a lot more than 2 pounds, but they say it's 2 pounds. And then they have other batteries which can be interchangeable with any of the equipment. They have a 5 amp hour and a 7.5 amp hour, and the weight goes up accordingly to the amount of amp hours that they have. What my memory was is for every amp hour, oh, there's the 2 right there. This was supposed to be 2 pounds, the 5 was supposed to be 5 pounds, and the 7.5 amp hour was supposed to be 7.5 pounds. But this feels heavier than 2 pounds, or I'm really getting old and weak. So anyways, now we're going to get to the main show here. And this is it. Pull the plastic off of here. And here's the chainsaw. It's a 14-inch. It's got a little sleeve for it. So a 14-inch. It weighs about the same as a regular chainsaw. So you're not going to lose a whole lot of weight with it, especially when I slide the battery in. And the batteries are pretty easy to slide in. You just have to figure out each one's a little bit different. But there, that's in. And there's one thing we're missing. I don't see it in the box. You got the charger, comes with the battery, comes with the chainsaw. But for anybody out there that's experienced with chainsaws, you know, it doesn't, because the battery doesn't come, you don't need mixed gas. You don't have to have the oil and the gasoline. But you do need the bar oil. And let's see, here's the bar oil. I'm sure they didn't put any in here. I don't ever ship anything with liquids in it. Nope, dry. So I guess it didn't come with it. I didn't think about it when we were at Home Depot buying this. By the way, on the Home Depot website, today is December, what is it, 18th, 19th? 19th. Yeah, December 19th, 2019. On the website, they had this down as $369. Seemed like it was kind of comparable with everything else price-wise. But when we got to the Home Depot, they had 3 of these, and they had 2 shelf tags that said $188. And I said, we're going to have problems with this when we get to the register, because they're going to, you know, it says $188, but they're going to probably charge $369. So we took a picture of it, and we took it up to the register, and it was $188. So that goes pretty good with the price range of like a cheaper version, like a Poland or a Craftsman or something like that, for this size chainsaw. Now I want to go ahead and start this up, but before I do, here it says open and close, and I bet you this is just to, yeah, that's to open and close this cover. And then right here, it has to tighten and loosen and unlock the chain. So right now, if you go this way, you unlock it, and this way, oh no, that's for this. This is for the brake. This is to tighten and loosen the chain. So let's see how tight the chain is. What I prefer is, I don't want to see that tip. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I tighten it. Now let's loosen it. Good. Let me turn it this way. Now let me loosen this up a little bit. Turn this way. See if I can get it tight enough for me. Okay, now that's how I like it. Be able to pull on it. Yeah, I mean, I could pull it even tighter and pull it out, but I don't want to see that part. But I don't want it any tighter than that. I think that's good. So here, I'll lock that cover down, which locks that. I'll take the brake off. I'm not going to spin it for much. I'm just going to turn it on and let it run. And then we'll go down to the local Ace Hardware, because Home Depot is about an hour round trip from here. Ace Hardware is about 15 minutes. and go down and get some bar oil for the bar, and then we'll go and put it to work. But I just wanted to run this real quick and see if I can run it. It's giving me a light. I don't know if there's an on or off. You know what? I hate doing it, but I may have to actually sit down and read the directions. It might be just a safety precaution for the fact that it has no oil in it. Or I may have it tighter than what it wants. Loosen this up a little bit. Turn it back some. Or loosen it back a little bit. Tighten it up a little bit. Well, I'll read some instructions and then we'll get back to you. Sorry, just stand up to a manual. And the only thing I was doing wrong to get it started was they want it unlocked. They want, this is that stops the chain from going. In case of an emergency and you want to shut it off real quick. So this is unlocked in unlocked position. And then on this side, you have a safety button that you have to push in, which I was doing, and then the trigger. So let me see if I can do it this way. Show you this way. So push that in and then pull the trigger. And there it goes. And you notice, it stops, I think it stops a little quicker than the gas-powered chainsaws. And of course, we'll test that out and see how good it does. But did you notice how quiet it is? I mean, I'll put it at full speed. People aren't going to hear that half-mile away like you do with a regular chainsaw. So we'll see what it sounds like when it cuts. But like I said, we're going to try it out later on today. We do have to run down to Ace Hardware and get some bar oil for it. That's probably one of the most, there's two things about a chainsaw blade that's critical if you want it to last. First and foremost is you got to have bar oil. Second of all, don't ever let it touch the dirt. When it's running, don't ever let it even just barely touch. If you got a log on the ground and you're trying to cut it most of the way through, but don't get into the sand. Don't get into the dirt. Rotate it, do whatever you can. Don't get it in the dirt. I mean, that will dull a blade faster than anything else. So, I mean, I can run a chainsaw blade all day long as I'm doing things right. I'm not getting it pinched. I'm not getting in the dirt. I'm keeping bar chain oil in it. It'll stay sharp for me all day long. Of course, I've got a lot of softwoods around here. I'm not usually dealing too much with oaks. Although on this property we do have a lot of oaks. We got a mixture of oaks, pines, and maples. But today we'll be cutting mostly deadwood. But later on, a month or so from here, we'll be cutting down a fairly large oak tree with this. And we'll let it sit for a week and let me recover, and then I'll come back and cut it up in pieces. But that's for a different time. Okay, well, we're heading down to Ace Hardware, and we'll get back with you. Back from Ace Hardware, and got my bar chain oil. I'm going to fill this up. Unscrewed the filler cap. And a lot of people substitute like motor oil and stuff because it's a little bit cheaper, and they figure, well, it's a lubricant, but it's not the same. And so don't do that. Buy what you're supposed to buy. If you want your chain and your chainsaw to last, buy bar and chain oil. Spend the extra money. Or get a handsaw. Or waste your money. Whichever you want to do. And this one does not screw on very easily. Alright. So, I'm going to put my gloves on. And you know, the great thing about this is it's a little cool out. It's not that bad. I'm in t-shirt right now because I'll be doing a little bit of work. But I don't have to crank start this thing. I just have to push a button. So I don't have to sit there and play 15-20 minutes trying to get this thing warmed up. It's brand new. Regular chainsaw, you'd have to work on it to get it started. So let's walk over here and find something to cut. And let's see how it does. Alright, so here's about a 2-inch diameter piece of oak. And go ahead and saw that. Mama, if you want to see over here. Seems to go through that pretty good. Oops. I'm going to stumble a lot out here. There's a lot of roots and things over here. See, I'm keeping that tip off away from that sand. Let's see. Let's find something a little bit bigger, maybe. Well, I tell you what. Let's move
out that way.
over here. What?
There's some, oh, there's one straight out. Straight between those two trees.
Is it bigger?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that big one out there. All right. Well, again, in an earlier video, I talked about the fact that we're starting to farm, and we had somebody come out with a brush cutter and get all the undergrowth. I'm telling you, this was thick. This is north central Florida, and it gets thick. And he came out here with a machine and got most of the stuff taken care of. This is a dead oak, but let's I'm gonna pick this up and move this over. That's pretty well, it's about half rotten. It's not completely rotten, but it's halfway rotten. Get that off the ground. And then let's use this saw here. Let's see how it does on a big rotten piece of wood. All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up with the Eco Chainsaw 14-inch. It's been about 3 weeks. We've used it several times. It works great. We like it. We're going to keep it. It's a winner for us. So we'll catch you next time. Catch you later.